Hi, welcome to the Coffee Hour, a show that involves you in verbal interactions. We have the 2020 feature, Sports with Brian Camp, and Entertainment News with DJ Pete. So settle in with coffee in hand, and enjoy the Coffee Hour. Now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Well, TGIF, here we are. Thank God it's Friday, and a happy Friday to each and every one of you. Welcome to another edition of the Coffee Hour. My name is Frank Allan, and I'm aboard with you for the next hour. And we are here as we are each week, and we get together, of course, you, me, and of course, the rest of the world as well. We come in and we have conversation, we have coffee, and we talk issues, anything you want to talk about. And if you're joining us for the first time, I'd just like to tell you that we're here live, coming out of New York City. And we're here live on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on YouTube as well. And of course, we invite you to join in conversation. Now, here's how it goes. When we come on every Friday at this time, we always throw out a topic, right? And of course, we want you involved in it because that's the purpose of the show, to get everyone involved, because it's free exchange and ideas, and we share them all together. If you have anything to say in particular, all you have to do is let your fingers do the walking. I don't know where I heard that phrase before, but you can type on your keyboard whatever you have to say. I will see right there on the big screen. I will entertain all of your thoughts and ideas. And of course, you can be with us right throughout the show, and you want to join in conversation, just be part of the show. Even if you just want to say hi, it's okay too. If you remain idle, that's okay too. A lot of people like to remain idle, just watch the show and not get involved in conversation, but that's okay, because as long as you're out there, it's fine. That's all we ask for, that you be out there. And if you can't stay out for the whole hour, of course, we really enjoy that you using the hour as part of the hour to spend with us, and then go about your business, whatever it is. But we would love you to be along with us. Now, all of you, or some of you, depending on your time zone, or different places, particularly if you're in my time zone, I would think that you'd be at work at this particular time. If you're in the office and you're getting ready to take that coffee break, take the coffee break with us, right? Take that 15-minute coffee break that they allow you in the business of corporate. You can take that 15 minutes instead of roaming around and talking to your friends, and because you're going to have all day to talk to them anyway, you're going to interact with them anyway. But take that time and stay with us. Stay at your desk, enjoy your coffee, and then when the coffee break is over for your 15 minutes, you can still be at your desk and you can still watch the show for the entire hour. And you can do what they call multitasking. That's working and watching at the same time. Of course, if you can chew bubble gum and walk at the same time, you're pretty good. You're pretty good. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being along. And remember that all of the views and opinions that's expressed on this show, The Coffee Hour, does not necessarily reflect the view or the opinion of the good folks at Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Zoom, or any other broadcast outlet that we perform on. And so with that, we would like for all of you to raise your cups. Get it together, raise your cups, because as I always say, what would the coffee hour be without a little coffee? So, excuse me while I shoot up. We call it the coffee hour, but if you're not a coffee drinker, tea is fine. Hot chocolate is fine, or whatever you have is fine. We just want you to be with us for the full hour. Now, later on in the program, we're going to do our normal routine as well. Later on in the program, we have what they call the 2020 feature. 20 minutes past the hour, Brian Camp will be with us. We're going to link up with him coming out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and he's going to give us the latest developments in today's world of sports news all around. We're in the midst of the World Series. That will be starting tonight, as a matter of fact, I'm told. And Philadelphia will be playing, of course, Houston, but Brian will tell you more about that in detail when he comes along. Also, later on in the program, the second part of the 2020 feature, the 20 to the hour, DJ Pete comes along with entertainment news. However, DJ Pete won't be here today, so he left us his information, and we're going to convey all of the material that he conveyed to us, we'll bring it on to you as that second part of the 2020 feature. And also later on in the program, as usual, I have my picks of the week of all of those classic movies that you enjoy so much coming from Turner Classic Movies, you know, those black and whites that you love so much. Well, I have a few of them that I'm going to convey to you later on because you know that a lot of times you want to do a lot of things on the weekend, and one of them may be catching up on some movies. So I just want to add to your bucket list of movies to watch this weekend as we go along. And then, you know, if you don't get a chance to watch these movies, of course, on real time or in real time, I should say, you could always DVR them, but we'll talk more about that later because it's all of us together, you, me, and the world. We're starting off. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just take one more drag. One more drag. That's usually referred to as a cigarette, but I guess I didn't kick the habit just yet. I literally kicked the habit, but I guess the language is still the same. It just never goes away, you know. Once an addict, always an addict. But we're glad for you to be along with us. And again, if you have anything to say, please later, you know, let us type in your comments. And if you're going to chime in the conversation too, what I'd like you to do is give us your weather forecast, wherever that may be in your area. I don't care where you are around the world or around the country. You have a weather forecast that we would like to ask you for. It's not mandatory, but we just ask you to do that, to be part of us as well. And we can convey all of your weather. We like to compare notes here. But those of you who live in the New York area, don't worry about it. I will take care of the weather forecast. I will give you what's the roundup of what's happening in the weather forecast this week. And it's not going to be a bad weekend weather-wise, but we'll tell you more about that later. So just keep that in mind. But we've got so many things to talk about today. Those of you already know that we are in the midst of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right? Breast Cancer Awareness Month, yes, it's all over the country. We talk about that because it's very important. Now, the month is almost over, but that doesn't mean we still shouldn't support it. Now, all of us men, we have women in our lives, we have wives, we have daughters, we have girlfriends, we have cousins, we have nieces, and we like to support them. We have teenage girls that we'd like to convey all of this great message to because they ought to know at this particular point in time at their age about what breast cancer is all about, what it means, and why we should support it. And people support it in different ways. Some wear the little ribbon or the pin that's crisscrossed in pink, or the pin that's representative of a ribbon, you know, wear on your lapel. Some people do that, and some people just, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? Any way you can, just support it. And cancer is cancer. We already know that. Any kind of cancer is bad. I often talk about prostate cancer to the men because I'm an advocate of that, being a survivor myself. And I just feel that men should be as proactive as women when it comes to cancer. We're macho men, but you could still pamper yourself. You could still take care of yourself. And that's one of the things to do. And one of the things I'd like to do, and I like to work with other people, and I hope that can come to pass someday, that all of us get behind the prostate cancer campaign, get one going, and do what the women do. Only we wear blue ribbons on our lapel, crisscross blue ribbons. How about that as an idea? Either it's a ribbon or a pin that represents or looks like a ribbon. How about that? You know, we can do that. In the meantime, they do have campaigns on TV as you go along, and you see that they have what they call, we're going to kick cancer's butt. You know, that's a campaign that covers the whole aspect of cancer, or every cancer that you can think of. That just covers it universally. And so, and that's good. That's good. But I also like to emphasize on the prostate cancer. But in the meantime, while all of that is taking place, while we get that together, we're taking care of the women right now with the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And as I said, at the end of the month, which is at the beginning of this week, this upcoming week. It will be all over. The month will be all over, but the fight and the crusade continues. So just keep that in mind. It all continues. And of course, you can go online. I'm pretty sure you can do something financially. There's places to go to make a donation, whatever you can. And there's places you can go to volunteer if it's no more than licking the stamps, whatever you can do to work on it and support it. That's the thing to do. So there you go. Okay, in the news you heard, I just want to get this straight so you'll know, and I mentioned it last night on Talk Back Live, that the death of Jerry Lee Lewis, remember that? That was a hoax. That was a hoax. Television station all around the country, especially the TMZ. TMZ brought out that particular notice. And they retracted it later, found out it wasn't true. I was just wondering where they got the information in the first place, how that came about. But Jerry Lee Lewis is still alive and well and still rocking and rolling. And great balls of fire. I am glad he's doing well. And because Jerry Lee Lewis just celebrated a birthday last month, the tail end of last month. And so he's 87 years old. And no one wants to say he died at the age of 87. He's 87 and still alive and kicking. So sometimes these false information, they come out sometime and they just come out all of social media, which is where I found out. I turned on Facebook and I found out about it, just found out. And when I see information like that, I don't want to post that myself. I want to make sure it's true. Now, if you see information like that, or someone passed away and you see maybe one or two posting on that, chances are it's a hoax. And that's how I saw it. When I saw the first posting, I scrolled down, I saw the second one, I scrolled down more, I kept going down and I saw nothing. And so that was a red flag. That drew up a red flag for me. And so that told me, well, you're going to go and research this yourself to find out what the deal is with that. Research it yourself to find out, because it may not be true. And so that's exactly what I did. I got on the computer, I researched it, I looked around, and I found out it wasn't true. His people came out and put a notation out saying that it wasn't true. Jerry Lee Lewis is still alive in Memphis, Tennessee, still alive. And so we got to be very careful on what we post. And it wasn't the fault of the people who posted it. They got the information just like everyone else. And they got it from TMZ, and they just went out there and posted it because they wanted to bring the news just like everyone else wanted to bring the news. But I dare not even entertain that thought until I found it out, because I'm a big Jerry Lee Lewis fan. I love Jerry Lee Lewis. And so when I checked it out myself and I found out it wasn't true, then I went and posted myself. It wasn't true. It was a hoax, and I left it out there. I think I did 2 postings on it, that the information wasn't true, and it's not true today. I also heard just yesterday morning too. I also heard that TMZ also released the fact that Chuck Norris, as you know, has that show called Texas Ranger. And they said that he had passed away, which is not true. It's not true. It's not true. So I'm not sure where TMZ gets the information. I'd like to speak to a representative on that, on how they got that information, where they got it. Hopefully it won't happen again. Now, you got to figure out it came from somewhere. Didn't necessarily come from TMZ. They probably got it someplace else and they announced it. And the people who participate in social media and all of social media, they got it and they put it out there and just became untrue. But you gotta realize it came from someplace. Some people just do things maliciously, where they put information out there. How many people have died that are still around, walking around? Remember when Morgan Freeman died, supposedly have died, Henry Winkler, the Fonz, he died. Ellen DeGeneres died. So many people died, and they're still walking around. So we got to be very careful on not being so hasty on posting just because we see it online. Take a look at it first and make sure. And if it's kind of flooded, if the media is kind of flooded, I usually go to Google and Google it myself or turn on the TV, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to hear it'll be breaking news, and that will confirm it, But even the mainstream media, sometimes they put out things that are not true, but they have to retract it. It's not their fault. It comes from a source, and they have to follow up on that source. When we get information, we follow up on it. The only thing is that we research it very carefully. My researcher, Sandy Pierce, she does that. And so that's what happens. So that's the deal right there. And of course, we are happy that he's still alive and kicking, and happy everything is just fine. And if you're just joining us, it's now coming up to 16 minutes past the hour. And if you're just joining us, the name of the show is called The Coffee Hour. And my name is Frank Allan. We're going to be with you for the whole hour. What we want you to do, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, what I want you to do is you can, I don't know if you knew this, but you can actually forward this show, or they say tag the show to your friends. You have a lot of friends on your Facebook page. Tag the show to them. You can do that very easily. And once you tag it to them, they'll see the notification. They'll come up. Hopefully they will come up, press the button, they'll come up, and I'll direct them right here. And they'll see you, they'll see me, they'll see us, everybody who's involved. And possibly they'll stay with us. And if they like what they see and like what they hear, they'll be, coming around on a regular basis, just like you. So that's what we ask you to do. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Do that, because once you subscribe to my YouTube channel, what happens is that you'll get an opportunity to know whenever we come on live or we post something, you get the notifications right there, and you can just do it right there. You can click onto that notification. It takes you right to the page. So yeah, do that. Subscribe to us. And when you subscribe, all you have to do, you'll see it right there. You press that red button where it says subscribe, and you're in. No money involved, no nothing. We're not asking you for a dime. It's free subscription. Subscription. When you hear the subscription, right away you think of money. How much is a subscription? Like the New York Times or the Harper's Bazaar or something like that. What's the price each month for subscription? Here, nothing. Just subscribe. Press the button, and that's it. That's all it takes. Set it and forget it. That's all it takes. So do that. And those of you who are watching us on Instagram, we thank you so much for being with us. All you have to do is follow us. Now, a lot of you people on Instagram, let me explain something to you. A lot of you guys on Instagram, you watch us, and when Brian Camp comes on, or whoever comes on visual, or DJ P comes on, you'll hear them, but you won't get to see them. Because if you want to get to see them, you'll have to come over to either Facebook or come over to YouTube. That's how you get to see them. Because Instagram is not set up that way, where we can actually, have the split screen, or you could watch them, at the same time. It's not that way. Perhaps, maybe, because as you already know, Facebook and YouTube are owned by the same company, Meta. All right, so maybe in the future that will happen. We hope it does, and I hope Meta is listening. Can you do the same thing? Because I remember a time when Facebook, we used to do Facebook, and we used to have to split screen. Facebook doesn't allow that anymore. They don't do that anymore because we used to do that. When I used to have DJ Pete, Brian Camp, we used to do the split screen while they did the sports. And so, that no longer happens. And so what happens now is that we have to do everything, and we're coming, and for us to see them, we do it through Zoom. And so again, if you like to see and like to meet Brian or DJ P, you have to come on to either Facebook or YouTube. If you don't care, well, stay where you are, but you'll still hear them. You'll still hear the reports, and you won't miss that. And so that's what it takes. And we're coming up to 20 minutes past the hour right now. And let me take one more swig. This is good coffee. Let me take one more. That's delicious. That's delicious. Okay, and it is coffee hour. And later, and as I said, later on, we'll have those movies we'll be telling you about. We want to add to your bucket list of movies that you enjoy so much, and classic movies. Everybody like those classic movies, you know, and the black and whites. And the black and whites should stay black and white. You know, when Ted Turner earlier, when he bought Turner or created Turner Classic Movies, he made some of the changes to some of the original black and white and colorized them, so you could have the option of watching them in color and in black and white. I don't think he no longer does that because it doesn't work, you know. So whatever is left out there that's black and white that turned into color, that will remain, I guess, but they won't show it. They have not showed them on TV. I guess the only way you could see something like that, some colorized black and white film, is to go on YouTube where they may, you know, have the option of giving you black and white and color, one or the other, you know, something like that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're waiting for the arrival of Brian Camp coming along so we can link him up, because we're overdue right now with sports. He's coming along to bring us the latest developments in today's world of sports, and that's all coming up. So you stay with us, and we'll have that shortly coming along. Just wanted to say too, here's some news that came along too that you should be interested in. Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, was attacked in their San Francisco home this morning around 2 a.m. Eastern time. The assailant, who is now in custody, broke into their apartment and brutally attacked Mr. Pelosi. That's Paul Pelosi. And he was taken to a hospital for observation, and he's expected to recover. Nancy Pelosi wasn't in the house at the time when it happened, and thank God she wasn't. And I wish her husband wasn't there at the same time. But when I look at this and I hear about it and I think about it, and I say to myself, okay, remember January 6th. Remember that. Remember January 6th, right? And they were trying to get Nancy Pelosi. Could this be a retaliation? If you don't get one, you get the other. Could that be? All right. I'm not making any kind of accusations right now. I'm not saying anything, but you think about it. It comes to mind. It makes you think. You know, is that true? Is it true? I don't know, but we hope it isn't. So that's one of the big things in the headlines, and we pray for his recovery. They said he's expected to recover nicely, and we hope so. But, you know, that's kind of scary, you know, for someone to come to your home at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. When I said 2 o'clock in the morning, I said Eastern. That could have been Eastern here, but over there it's a different time. In California, it's a 3-hour difference from here. So if it was 2 o'clock Eastern, that would have been 11 o'clock their time. But even so, it's late hours, and I don't know. Brian Camp is not here right now, so what we're going to do, we're going to give him a call and find out what's going on. We have to find out and see what happens. Maybe he got caught up in traffic, caught up in something, but he's usually here. So we're going to give him a call right now and find out what the deal. If he can't do it live on TV, maybe he having technical problems somewhere wherever he is. If he's having those technical problems, maybe he can do the show from wherever he is right now. playing music. Something popped up playing music. And let's see what he's got. I see something that says set up professional audio. But that wouldn't be Brian. That wouldn't be Brian, but we'll check him out and see what happens. If not, we're gonna go on. If not, we're gonna go on. The phone's still ringing. It's still ringing. It's still ringing. I'll keep it ringing.
Hello?
Yes, Brian. Brian.
Hello?
Brian.
Yes.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yes.
What happened?
I was about to call in. To tune in, but I guess you beat me to it.
I guess I beat you to it. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
so. Yeah. So,
Good morning.
You got sports ready for us?
Yes, I do. Good morning to you, to everybody else that's listening and tuning in on a beautiful, brisk but beautiful sunny day here in the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. Yes, it is nice. It is going up to 68 degrees, and it's going to be sunny all day. And hope everybody's enjoying their weather, wherever city or state that you're in. And hope all is well. But let me get back to sport. In the NBA, Ryan Terrell took the next step to his journey of trying to become the first Orthodox Jewish player in NBA history. If I had a sound effect, I would have applause, because we ought to be applauding right about now. Yes, we could celebrate African Americans and Latinos and every ethnic group on what they accomplished in their respective sports. Why not? Let's be happy for everybody in other ethnic groups. So I'm happy for this young man. He is 21 years old. He was selected 27th overall in the 2022 NBA G League draft. G League stands for, like in baseball, the minor leagues, but it's the next step to the professional level. It is on the professional level, but this is like a farm team. So their farm team is the Detroit Pistons. He was drafted out of Yeshiva University, picked up by the Motor City Crews. And so the next time he steps onto the floor, whenever that will be, he'll be the first player in the G League, whenever it takes place, at a height of 6'7", and averaging 27.1 a game, would be the first Orthodox Jewish player to ever play on a professional basketball level. I think that's wonderful. The first Orthodox Jewish player, I should say. Yes. So congratulations to him. In Major League Baseball, Fox and his related networks will be televising next year's World Baseball Classic, obtaining the U.S., English, and Spanish language rights to the tournament. Usually every year they have this, and it's usually during the winter time, but this is going to be televised to Fox Sports affiliates throughout the cable world, and tune in, check your local listings. Well, tonight starts Game 1 of the 2022 World Series with the Philadelphia Phillies versus the Houston Astros. The Phillies, the last appearance was in 2009 when they last appeared in the World Series. They lost to the New York Yankees that year, but that was the last appearance. In fact, that was the last appearance for the New York Yankees, who was last appeared and beat these same Phillies I just mentioned in 2009. So Houston has won recently. Now they're going to try to win one for their manager, Dusty Baker, who's a Hall of Fame manager who's seeking his first World Series champion. So I'm picking the Houston Astros for that reason, and also picking Houston because they're a better team. As simple as that. They're a better team. I'm not going to not go against them because you don't like them. You go against them because you want to use common sense. They are the better team, but this is why they play the game. The Phillies has a chance to knock them off, knock them out. So we'll see what happens. Game 1 starts tonight, 8 p.m. on Fox. Game 2 will be Saturday at 8 p.m. on Fox. Game 3, they go to Philadelphia on Monday, Halloween, 31st. And then on Tuesday, exciting World Series, but I'm picking Houston to win in 6. That's just me. In the WNBA, the Moscow court rejected Brittany Griner's appeal of her 9-year sentence on the drug charges, a completely anticipated result in a trial that the U.S. and the international officials have called an illegitimate proceeding. The U.S. officials have said that they believe Russia will eventually send the WNBA star home in a prisoner swap, but have expressed frustrations over what they say is Russia's failure to respond to the significant offer the U.S. made in June. Now, they're playing little games here. A lot of this have a lot to do with Russia being in the middle of a war with their neighbor Ukraine. So little things are a little tightened up here, so that's where we stand. This day in sports, October 28th, Red Barber resigned as Brooklyn Dodgers sportscaster to join the New York Yankees. Red Barber, yes, a legend. 1961, groundbreaking for Municipal Stadium, which is really Shea Stadium for the New York Mets. That was in 1961. 1973, Elmore Smith of the LA Lakers blocked 17 shots in a game. That still, I believe, is an NBA record. 1997, NBA announces hire of Dee Kantner and Violet Palmer as the first women to officiate an all-major league, all-male sports team. Yes, history was made. Women are more involved with sports, and deservedly so, because there's a lot of women that know more sports than what some of these men are on today. I'm not trying to be trying to score brownie points with women, but I've seen women today on TV and radio who know their stuff and have deserved to be noticed, and hopefully they could go further as we as men as well too. Birthdays today: Hall of Famer, NBA Hall of Famer Lenny Wilkins, born in Brooklyn, New York. He also went to the famous Boys High School in Brooklyn, New York. And today's birthday, also 1946, Kathleen Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner, Olympic decathlon, born in Mount Kisco, New York. And ladies and gentlemen, that is sports.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. And I miss Bruce Jenner. I really missed him.
Yeah.
I miss him.
He was a great athlete. You know, what he does with his lifestyle, you know, to each his own. You don't have to like it. You don't have to accept it for what it is. But he was one heck of an athlete. To win the decathlon is sets records for herself. That's great.
And for the record, I like Caitlin.
Okay, like I said, to each his own. To whatever makes. You know, I mean, you know, he's still a human being. You know, he, like I said, he was a great athlete. He went into, he married into the Kardashian family. Yeah. And his lifestyle, he changed his lifestyle, but he's still a human being. So we should always try to respect what they believe in, whatever gender they hold.
I wonder how he felt with that family. That was a hell-raising family, or probably still is.
It was, but you know what? The dollar sign's still coming in. Every time we watch an episode or a rerun, it's coming in. So I don't think he could care less what they feel or what Eddie Guerrero's feel.
No, of course not. They're laughing their way to the bank. And you know what? Every episode was like a soap opera, especially when they married one guy and then another guy, and they bring the spouse into the show, and as you already know, Odom, Lamar Odom, was once part of that family, and he was on.
They have a habit of marrying athletes, football players, Reggie Bush, and basketball players, and it's unbelievable just how this family is. That's who they are and everything,
I was pushing for Brittany Griner. I was hoping, that she got released out of there. Now here's the deal that I think on that. I don't know. I wasn't there. You weren't there. when she allegedly committed that crime or bringing drugs into the airport. We weren't there, but they're holding her out of. They're holding her in a place where she doesn't belong. She doesn't belong in that country. She's not of this country. She's of this country. So I'm thinking, you know, I would like to see her out completely, out of incarceration completely. But if they have to keep her, if she has to do any time, maybe they should shift her here. But if they shift her here, she won't do any time at all because the alleged crime wasn't made in the United States. But in the meantime, the president is trying all he can to get her out. He's still
well, they're trying to do a prison swap, and you know, I mean, she was found, you know, drugs on her, so that's a crime. I think that's a crime in any country of the world, you know, unless they legalize it. But you know, it's something that she, for now, will have to live with because the appeal was rejected, and you know, I don't think she's going to serve her entire 9-year sentence, but she's going to do some time until they resolve this.
I feel bad for her because she's there all alone. She doesn't have family there. Her family is here. You know, family, her team.
Well, a lot of you know, like a lot of people say that she deserves what she gets because she's not a patriot, an American patriot. Well, I tell those people, every person is only following the amendment. You have a right to protest. There's some things African Americans do protest about when it comes to things happening in the country, in the United States, and she's within her rights, you know, and she protested some things just for the betterment of the country, to bring her ideas. But because you don't agree with everything that goes on in the United States, doesn't make you not patriotic. There's a lot of things that I don't agree with in this country. Yeah. But I'm a true American, I can tell you that. I was born and raised here, and you know, I'm not going to give you no history lesson, but you know, she's within her right. Yeah. She has a right to protest.
Yeah.
She wasn't violent. She didn't create no riots. She has a right to protest. Protesting is legal.
Yeah. Well, at least she's not a treasonous and serving and a treasonous and serving in a political office at the same time.
Right.
Well, keep my mouth shut. Brian, thanks a lot. We'll catch you back here next week.
Well, everybody have a good weekend. Pete, everybody else out there who's listening, and Naoto, who I haven't seen in a while, enjoy it. But remember, it's the holiday season. Still wear your mask.
That's right.
Take care.
Take care of yourself. That was Brian Camp, ladies and gentlemen, with the latest developments in today's world of sports on Sports Update. We didn't get a chance to see him today, but he gave the sports anyway by way of telephone. So those of you who are watching on Instagram, it doesn't matter. He wasn't seen today by anyone, but we heard his sports report, and he's here each week at this time with the latest developments in today's world of sports. You can also hear him on Talkback Live, which I'll tell you more about that later before we go off the air. But thank you, Brian, for that. And now we go into the basketball season, right? And the football season. That's where we are now. After we get the World Series over, the World Series starts tomorrow night, or I should say, today's Friday, so it starts tonight. Now, I don't know, a lot of you may not watch it. A lot of you will watch it. I watch out of curiosity. I tip my hat to Houston and Dusty Baker because they played a good game with the Yankees, and they had a good season. And boy, they had a good time when they swept the Yankees 4-0. I never really expect that. I wasn't even close to I didn't even fathom the thought of they're sweeping the Yankees in those games. I was thinking maybe, they go to 7 games. I was hoping they would do 7 games. Brian is predicting that Houston will win in 6 games. Me, I'm not going to predict anything. I'm just going to stand by and watch. I'm going to sit on the sidelines and watch this time. I'm not sure I'm going to be a rooter for anyone, but just out of curiosity, watch the game and see what's going to happen. We'll see what will happen later. Okay, every week at this time, you already know that DJ Pete here, because Brian just wrapped up his part of the 2020 feature. That's the first part of the 2020 feature. So now we go to the second part of the 2020 features. It's now 20 minutes to the hour. And DJ Pete won't be here today. He's not here today. So I will take over. I will give you what he gave me. DJ Pete. Okay, this is what we have today. DJ Pete, let's start off. Al Yankovic, remember Al Yankovic, that cuckoo guy that did that song, that takeoff from Michael Jackson's song, Beat It, and he did his version of Beat It called Eat It. Well, he celebrated. It's true. I haven't seen that video since. I think after I get off the air, you see what this show does to me. Makes me swallow my own saliva. I can just get choked up. Anyway, Yankovic, I'm gonna see if I can find that video on YouTube when I get off the air sometime during the course of the day and see if it's out there. Eat It. It's called Eat It, not Beat It. Eat It. Al Yankovic. Anyway, he celebrated a birthday on the 23rd. He was born in 1959. Glenn. Now, Glenn, does anyone know who Glenn is? Okay, well, if it's the Glenn that I know, which is probably not, Glenn is a singer. This Glenn is a singer. And he was born in Japan. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Japan. I read that wrong. He was born in Joplin, Missouri. And he's no longer with us, of course. He passed away March 18th, 2022 at the age of 87 years old. And he was a rockabilly singer. That was Glenn. Now, I said Glenn. There's another Glenn that I remember. This is the singer Glenn, but the other Glenn I'm talking about was a sound by Glenn when he did all of the sounds for all of the sitcoms like I Love Lucy and all of those Danny Thomas shows like Make Room for Danny and all of those shows. He was the sound guy. He was the sound guy. Glenn sound. I remember. So that's two Glens, but this is the Glenn a lot of people don't know too much about, and so I just figure I'd tell you about it. Glenn. Okay, moving right along, Glenn. Okay, we have PJ Richards, the Big Bopper. Hello, baby. Chantilly Lace, that's the same person, the Big Bopper. He was born October 24th, 1930. And he died in a plane accident along with Richie Valens and Buddy Holly back in 1959, I believe it was. Yeah, 1959. Died in that plane accident. And not only was he a singer, but he was a disc jockey in Texas. He was a radio disc jockey in Texas as well. And so he was born in Texas. That's where he's from, in Texas. And he passed away February 3rd, like I said, 1959. The Big Bopper, Chantilly Lace. Hello, baby. Okay, moving right along, we've got Minnie Pearl. Now, a lot of you may remember Minnie Pearl back in, some people use that terminology back in the day. I don't use that terminology back in the day because that makes me wonder, back in the day, back in the day, back in what day, back in the day. Anyway, back in those days of Minnie Pearl was born October 25th, 1912. Minnie Pearl, you remember her, she was on Hee Haw. And she was the one that wore, you got to remember when I tell you this, she was the one that wore that hat with the little tag hanging down, Minnie Pearl. So she would have been celebrating her birthday October 25th. She was born 1920. Also, the late Charlie Daniels. Charlie Daniels is a country singer, Charlie Daniels. Would have been 86 years old today. He was born October 28th. This is the day that he was born, his day. Today is the 28th. So he would have been 28 years old, 28 years old, geez. 86 years old today. And like I said, he was a country singer. Everybody knew him. Everybody loved him. And he always wore that cowboy hat. And he had that white beard. And it's great to know. His name was Charles Edward Daniels. Charles Edward Daniels. And so happy birthday in heaven, Charlie Daniels. These guys brought out some good music back in those days. Back in those days, you know, some people don't like to use back in those days because it sounds too vintage. I don't use back in the day because it sounds so, it doesn't make sense to me. And if anyone could explain back in the day, if anyone could explain back in the day, please explain that to me. I used to say it. And the reason why I said it, because I was following suit. And I'm not a good follower. I'm a good leader, but I'm not a good follower. So I don't use the word unless I know exactly what it means back in the day. So I just don't use it. So back in those days. Anyway, thank you, DJ Pete. I have some birthdays of my own too. I have some birthdays here today. Let's see, singer and songwriter Frank Ocean, 35 years old today. Country singer Brad Priestley is 50 years old today. Actress Julia Roberts. Where am I getting these names from? Julia Roberts is 55 years old today. Actress Daphne Zuniga. Daphne Zuniga is from Melrose Place. Remember her back then? She's 60 years old today. Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft, is 67. Actress Annie Potts from Designing Women is 70. And we already mentioned Caitlyn Jenner, right? But Brian didn't mention, but she's 73 today. And singer, actress Thelma Hopkins, who used to be one of the one of the two girls of Tony Orlando and Dawn. And she also played in the sitcom, what was the name of that sitcom? Can't think of it off the head right now, but 75 years, she's 74 years old today. And a rocker, Wayne Fontana of the Mindbenders, would have been 77 today. Dennis Franz of NYPD Blue, he's 78 today. Doo-wop singer Curtis Lee, who did Pretty Little Angel Eyes, he passed away. He would have been 81 today. Actress Jane Alexander is 83. Jazz singer Andy Bay, who was a fantastic singer. I met him a couple of times. He's 83 today. Latin jazz conductor Chico O'Farrell would have been 101 years old today. And finally, Jack Sue of Barney Miller. All right, remember Jack Sue of Barney Miller? He was also on that movie, that musical, The Flower Drum Song. He's no longer with us, of course, but he would have been 105 years old today. He was funny on that show, Barney Miller. And so those are birthdays today. And the sitcom I was talking about was Family Ties. Was it Family Ties or Family Matters? Family Matters of Thelma Hopkins. That's the name of that. That was a sitcom I was thinking about. Anyway, those are the birthdays. And of course, I want to thank DJ Pete for providing us with his portion of the 2020 feature. Thank you so much, DJ Pete. And maybe you're out there listening sometime. I hope we made you proud. We try to do a good job here for you anyway. Anyway, DJ Pete has a radio show, and you can catch him on www.airwaves.co.uk. That's www.radio-airwave.co-uk. And you can hear him there on Mondays at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Also, you can catch him on his hometown station of WMPG radio in Portland, Maine. That's where he lives. He resides there. And if you can't pick up the station, I can't pick up that station here in New York, but I can also listen to the show anyway, because they have a website you can listen to it, www.wmpg.org. And you can catch him every other Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at all times, Eastern Time Zone, US and Canada. So there you go. And we hope that we get a chance to see DJ Pete tomorrow, or next week, I should say, on the coffee hour. So thank you so much. Thank you, Brian, for your portion. And so we just wrapped up the 2020 feature. You already know it's 11 days away. 11 days away we have. That's 11 days before that glorious day, that marvelous day, that election day. You know what that means? You ought to get out there and exercise your right to vote. Now, even though we have 11 days before the actual day, which will be November 8th, that's Tuesday, November 8th, election day, there's also the early voting polls. The early voting polls are open now in certain places. I know ours just, in my district where I live, opened just yesterday, or I should say just opened today. It's open, it's today. Today's the 28th, open today. And so people are going out to vote. And in my district, the polls, the early voting polls open today until the 6th of November. And then, of course, 2 days later is the traditional voting day, which will be, in this case, November 8th, Tuesday, November 8th. The point is that you should get out there and vote. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you get out there and vote, don't vote from here. Vote from here. Follow your heart. Because we tend to get on board because of someone else said that this person is the better person. And a lot of people are doing that. And a lot of people who are in power, who are political power, or once were in political power, endorse certain candidates for the sake of the party and not for the sake of the country, which is wrong. You know, you want to vote for the sake of the country, not the sake of the party. For instance, let's say, for instance, if you're a Republican, but there are two Republicans, as you already know, all right? But let's say, and the mainstream Republicans, now those are the Republicans are for the country before the party. So let's say, for instance, even though they're Republicans, if a Republican runs against a Democrat, but the Democrat in their mind are the best person for the job than the Republican, then still being Republican, they're going to vote Democrat. And see, that's the way it works. But then you have the other Republicans, right, who are voting for the sake of the party and trying to impress a party of one person. Okay, those are Republicans. There's no hope for that. All right, so we're not going to even mention that. So the rest of you who have the foresight to see that you are going to serve the country rather than the party, of course you'll serve the party, but you're going to vote for the person because you want to make sure that they're good for the country. Or in this case, we're voting for, in my area, we're voting for governor. So we want to make sure, I want to make sure that New York governor is safe. I am going to vote for the best person for governor. And that's what we should all do, vote for the best person. Now, don't be frightened when you hear this, but got the news last night in certain parts of Arizona. They got people outside in army gear or whatever kind of gear they're waiting with guns, and they try to intimidate voters. And you know, and we know why that's happening. We already know why that's happening, right? All right. Well, I'm not going to make a big story about it, but we already know why that's happening. Don't be afraid. And, you know, I always say, you remember the expression, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. But if you live by the rifle or the machine gun, the Tommy gun, or whatever you're living by, you die by the machine gun, the Tommy gun, or whatever you're living by. All right. So They want to go out and intimidate voters, and voters and people who are working at the polls. Sometimes some of these people are quitting their jobs because they don't feel it's worth it. Some people are not going to the polls because they don't feel it's worth it, and they don't feel that they feel that their lives are being jeopardized for that. And so, but I say, go to the polls, vote any way you can. If you don't want to go to the polling box and drop it in, go to the mailbox, right? Go to the mailbox. And in Arizona, they're covering these drop boxes, right? For people who are dropping their votes in. They're doing that, you know? So I have two things to say to those people. I can't say that on the air. Can't say that on the air, but you get the idea. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do get out and vote, all right? Get out and vote. If you have to vote earlier, vote earlier. You want to vote on election day, but go out and vote. It's very important. Okay, I want to say hello to all of you guys. And Justin, hi, how are you? Justin is watching us on Instagram. And so I just want to say hi to Justin and the rest of you guys out there. Okay, it's time for me to give you the information on those movies, right? Those movies that you like so much, those Turner Classic movies. Now, each week, as you already know, I have my picks of movies for all of you who want to catch up on movies. And I just want to add to your bucket list. I just want to add to your bucket list of movies to watch, okay? They're very important. And you know something, before I do that, let me give the weather forecast, and then this way I can wrap up with the movie. Let me give the weather forecast because I didn't do that just yet. And I'm asking everybody to give their weather forecast, and I didn't give mine. Okay, here we go. Sometimes I neglect to realize that there's something to be done, and I forget about it, and then all of a sudden I think about it, and there it is. We have 51 degrees outside right now, and it doesn't look that bad for the weekend. It's not that bad. So this is the way the weather goes. Let me do it quickly for you. We've got partly cloudy skies today, high 57 degrees. That's as high as we're going to get. We're going to have winds east-northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For tonight, it will be a few clouds, low 43 degrees. Winds will be light and variable. Tomorrow, Saturday, partly cloudy skies, high 61. Winds will be northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And for Saturday night, clear skies, low 53 degrees. Winds will be light and variable. And as we wrap up our weekend for Sunday, okay, this is what we have for Sunday. Partly cloudy skies, high 63, winds will be light and variable. Repeating that current temperature, we have 61 degrees outside, and it's not bad. So most of the part of the weather in New York, it's going to be dry. Okay, let's get back to the movies, and let's get started right away. I just don't want to waste too much time on this. Poltergeist, all right? Craig T. Nelson with Joe Beth Williams. That comes on tonight, Friday night. Turner Classic Movies at 5 p.m. Eastern. Every time I give you these times, it's always Eastern, so you follow suit. Blonde Dynamite from 1949 with the Bowery Boys. They used to be called the East Side Kids, remember? And East Side Comedy. Okay, that's tonight. That's tomorrow, I should say. Tomorrow, Saturday morning on Turner Classic Movies at 10:05 a.m. Eastern. Dial M for Murder, a Ray Milland movie, along with Grace Kelly, back in 1954. It'll come on Turner Classic Movies. That will be tomorrow afternoon, Saturday, 1:45 p.m. Eastern. And finally, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, starring Betty Davis and Joan Crawford from 1962, Turner Classic Movies. That will also be Saturday afternoon at 3:45 p.m. So watch all of those movies. Go to Turner Classic Movies and scroll through the program guide as well. And you can also find out, you'll see that there are movies that I didn't mention, but these are only my picks, but you may like. Movies that I didn't mention, you may like. And you can watch these movies if you don't watch them in real time. You could also watch them as you DVR them at a later time. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for me. I had a very good time. I hope you did too. I will be back on Thursday night for Talk Back Live at 8 p.m. Eastern. Brian Camp will be with me with the latest developments in today's world of sports and sports update. And you and I will also have a conversation conversation as well. Other than that, I'm coming back here next Friday morning at 10 a.m. God's will, and we'll have more of the coffee hour. Brian Camp with sports, starting the 2020 feature, DJ, the second part of the 2020 feature, doing entertainment news and reciting all of those birthdays of people of notoriety. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, until that time, make sure you have a great day, a great weekend, and I will catch you all back here at that time. Take care, everybody. So long. Bye-bye.
You've been watching The Coffee Hour with your host Frank Allen. The producer has been Al Dale. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Coffee Hour.